actually, I think you created a tripod here for happiness, right? Having time, being healthy, surrounded by great people. That's like a blessing, right?
Right.
That should be like a long life goal forever. And three, two, one, and we are back with Coffee Break with Coachman once again with my dear friend Kirk Barrett. Me speaking directly from Madrid at the DSD headquarters, and Kirk in Milwaukee. And today we're going to talk about the tripod for success: time management, mental and physical health, and people management. How to bring the best people around you, how to grow them, and how to keep them. And as a dentist, I believe these three topics are key to also grow a practice: time management, mental physical health, and managing people.
So, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing very, very good. Thanks for doing this session once again with me here. I'm here trying to manage my time, be healthy, trying to inspire people to bring great people around me. So, this is actually a challenge of all of us every single day. And when you mentioned or suggested for us to talk about it, it's a huge challenge for me to actually talk about it. We can casually speak about these topics, share our experiences. You even said, pretend you're speaking with your 25-year-old version
Yeah.
of yourself, right? And what would you say to that version of you 25 years ago? Everything you learned about time management, managing better time, the most precious thing we have in life because life is ultra short. Then health, maybe as important, if not more important, actually, time and health, I would put at the top together. And people, oh my God, maybe as important as well. So if you are a healthy person surrounded by shitty people, your health doesn't mean much, right?
Right.
If you are extremely healthy, but you're using poorly your time, you don't leverage that health. If you have great time in front of you, you're doing great managing your time, but you don't have health, not much you can do. But again, also great time management, poor people around you, also not that great. So actually, I think you created a tripod here for happiness, right? Having time, being healthy, surrounded by great people. That's like a blessing, right?
Right.
That should be like a long life goal forever, right?
Mm.
So by looking at my version at 25 years old, that's the first thing I would tell. Forget about everything else and just think about time, health, and people. That's it.
Yeah.
Everything else should be a consequence, and make these things a priority, I
Yeah.
believe.
And I think you're right. They're interdependent or they impact each other. You get the right people, you feel like you have more time or you're
Mm-hmm.
utilizing time better.
Mm-hmm.
You utilize your time, you stay healthy, you feel better about your time. So let's start at the top. Let's start with time. That feels like now I'm 54. How old are you today?
I'm
You're
50. I'm
you're
50. Just turned 50, so big number for me this year. Um, and it made me think a lot about these three things, right? The last few months, the last year, as I was approaching 50, I was constantly thinking about time, health, and people. And one more thing on this integration, right people. If you think about the right people will impact your habits. People that you love that have bad habits, unfortunately, will influence your habits. So you have to think about what are your goals, right? What is ideal for you? And yes, we'll always have great friends that have bad health or not very great with people or whatever. I don't think we need to be extremist here, but I think one important step is to start as you get older, selecting better the people that you're going to spend time with.
Yeah.
So it's not only inspiring the people around you, but being inspired as well by the right people. And as you do that, you're going to start learning about valuing time better. So find the people that are mastering time management. If you want to improve time management, find the people that will inspire you, people that are already doing better than you. That very well known quote, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're probably on the wrong room. So if you set as a goal that you want to manage your time better, it's beautiful to start finding the people that are managing time better. And uh, for example, I learned a lot of things with you, Kirk, about running a business and time management as I saw when I started to get closer to you and I started to learn about how you manage your life, how you manage your company. And I saw that you had many things that I didn't have yet. And I said, I need to be close to this guy. So this is the type of behavior of successful people, I believe, finding the shortcuts by first setting your goals, understanding that you are not there yet, that you have a lot to improve, making your priorities, and then surrounding yourself by the people that will help you with these priorities.
Yeah.
If you surround yourself with people that love drinking, I can guarantee you're going to drink more and more and more. If you surround yourself with people that love sports, and many times they don't drink at night because they want to perform better in the next day in the morning, because even though they're not professional athletes, they really enjoy the challenge of performing that sport a little bit better week after week. And because of that, they enjoy giving up on certain things that are not good for your performance. They actually enjoy the challenge of saying no to something that is tempting but is not going to help you. And then as you surround yourself by these people, you're going to start getting the same habits, and you're going to start performing better on the right things, and you're going to start having more time to do more of what matters, and you're going to start becoming healthier. And that will expose you to people that also admire that. So not only you should proactively start finding these people and connecting with them and wanting to be with them, but as you step by step become that new version of yourself, the other thing will also happen. You will start attracting the same type of people, people that are already mastering these process or wanting to master better and are seeing your effort, and being an admirer of your effort. So you start to create this movement, right? This cascade of actions and connections and synchronicity of things happening towards your goal. So for me, the first thing you need to do to manage time better, to be healthier, and to have be better with people is very simple. The first step is to make these three things a priority. It's regardless of where you are, is to every day in the morning remind yourself of these three things and say, I want to improve on these things, right? That's the first step. Pretty easy, but not that easy, because the existing routine is so strong and our brain is constantly sabotaging us from these new ideas and new challenges. And we are always unconsciously, unfortunately, trying to find ways to go back to our comfort zone. So revisiting this daily is for me the initial step of the process.
Yeah. I think it's pretty fascinating to watch what you do. And we all have 24 hours. I wonder how you get all of this done in the time that you have. Do you think, like, give me an idea, like, how much do you sleep? Like, when do you exercise? I think about all these things. At 54, I got to get 7 hours of sleep. At 54, I got to get 1 hour of exercise. And if I can get those two things done, I can usually handle the others. How do you see it? How do you see it?
So my day is it's a repetition every day. Of course, I travel, and traveling makes it harder, but I try to keep the same structure. So I sleep around 7 hours per day. High quality sleep. I sleep good, thank God. I sleep early, so 10:30 to 11, I'm sleeping. So I wake up around 6:30 every day. Um, and then I have the time with my kids, a very intense family, good time, from 6:30 till they go to school around 8:30. So there's 2 good hours every single day, with quality. No rush. We don't rush in the morning. The breakfast is our family meal. I know that some people don't have breakfast, some people skip breakfast. I don't say that my recipe is the only recipe, is just working very well for me. So breakfast is the moment we enjoy breakfast. And weekdays or weekends is exactly the same for us. We are sleeping at 11, 10:30, 11. We are at sleep. And so then I work out from 9 to 11 every single day, weekdays or weekends, 7 days a week. And then when I skip a day, I feel very bad. It's not a pleasure at all. Oh, I feel like not doing anything. For me, it's the opposite. I'm like, I'm crazy to go and do something. Intense sport, intense, So it's 1 to 2 hours of exercises every day. And I love it. And it became a routine. It wasn't like that the whole life. By the way, it became a routine a few years ago. So it's never too late to make it happen. Today, I'm addicted to those 1 or 2 hours of exercise. And so I finish at 11, and then I go to work. And I usually work until 7 p.m. So, and these blocks are very structured, and I don't invade one with the other, right? So family time, you're 100% with family. Workout time is workout time. I don't allow anything else interfere with that time. I'm 100% present. And then work is the same, 100% present. And when I'm traveling, I give me this, it's traveling and lecturing. I allow myself as well to be 100% there for the people, for the event. And I'm just immersed on that experience. So I think that this is another important factor. Once you divide these moments, family, exercise, work, and your self time, because I forgot one important moment on the day there. When I'm home, we put the kids to sleep together, and then me and my wife, we have our time from 8 to 10, 10:30, 11, just us, just the two of us. So there's basically 4 blocks in the day. And very rarely we change those blocks. We love those blocks. We are craving for those blocks, each one of them, all of them. I love working. I love being at home with my wife or going out for dinner with her. I love working out, and I love the mornings with the kids. So at the end of one block, you're already loving the fact that you had that block, and you're loving the transition to the next one because you love the next one as well.
Yeah.
Um, Another thing that made a huge difference for me was not enjoying that much anymore late evenings, big dinners, and a lot of drinking. Now, this was very hard for me because I'm a very social person. I love interacting. I love networking. I love socializing. I love drinking, really love drinking. So this was a big movement for me, and I was able to do it step by step. Pandemic helped me a lot because we were forced to have this life. Actually, these 4 blocks were created during pandemic,
Oh,
and I was able to get used to it. And I prefer to have a big lunch on Saturday with afternoon drinks. Sunset parties are the best.
yeah.
Brunch with drinks, Sunday brunches that becomes a party. So Saturday sunsets, Sunday brunches. If I want to party, if I want to drink, if I want to invite friends, do barbecues, I prefer to do at those time, because when it comes to, if you start having fun at 11 a.m. and you start having some drinks at 1 p.m., at 6 p.m., you are already on that end of the party type of mode. And at 8 p.m., you're already putting the kids to sleep again. Even you did party. And at 9 p.m., you're hanging out with your wife and recovering to sleep at 10, 11. So this was for me a huge move that allowed me to actually improve my time, because when you drink late at night or you have big dinners, you lose almost completely the first half of the second day.
Yeah.
And that destroys everything. So it needs to be the exception of the exception of the exception. And today, I don't have fun anymore in the evening. I don't enjoy staying late.
Yeah.
I just run away. I find an excuse and I'm gone. When
Well,
people after 11, people already make fun here at the company. After 10:30, 11, where is Christian? He
right.
doesn't say goodbye. He's just
Right.
gone, right?
Well, can I ask you
So
this? Now,
yeah,
you're flying in the face of conventional wisdom. I love the European culture. And for those of you that don't know, Christian lives in Madrid. I was recently in Portugal, and every time I go over to Europe, I'm reminded of how late people eat.
yeah,
And it's not that they eat; it's an event.
yeah,
All the restaurants are crowded. I mean,
yeah,
there were nights we started eating at 9 o'clock. So
yeah.
that's not commonplace for you, right? That's
9 o'clock is early dinner here. I have to, and on a
wow,
Friday, Saturday, it's very common for people to be starting to eat at 10, 10:30, starting, okay?
wow.
On a Friday, Saturday for sure. On weekdays, people have dinner at 9. That's the normal dinner time, right? But then it's like changing the clock 2 hours. You can do that. Just pretend it's not 9, pretend it's 7. Because the clock and your body, they don't know each other. It doesn't really matter. It's your biological clock. So if you have dinner at 9, you're not going to go to sleep at 11. You're going to go to sleep at 1. And you're not going to wake up at 6. You're going to wake up at 8. And if you can fit your schedule on that way, it's going to work the same way. Just move everything 2 hours forward. But for me to be able to be with, maybe if I didn't have young kids like waking up at 6:30, I could do that, and I could have the same lifestyle that I'm having today. But because of the kids, I want to be with them in the morning, so that's the reason why I had to choose. And I decided to move everything earlier, and start the day at 6:30 and do exactly what I mentioned. But it's totally against the tradition here in Spain for sure. But since we are not going out much, and I love the fact that when we go out for dinner, and I usually go out twice a week for dinner with my wife. When we arrive at the restaurant, we put the kids to sleep at 8. At 8:15, 8:30, we can be at the restaurant. There's nobody, so it's only us, and I love it. There's always room. Everybody's fresh. And when we are finishing at 10, people are arriving. People are arriving. So we were able to make it fit. And of course, I'm never drastic. I believe that that's a very important component to be healthy. It's not to be extremist, not to be too hard. I see many people becoming so good with their routine that they're so hard, there's no exceptions. I don't like that. I love opening exceptions. I love breaking the rule. My whole life, I was breaking the rule every day. That's the problem. I was an exception every moment. I was completely lost with no routine, and I have zero discipline. So for me, it was a big move to conquer discipline, love routine, and this happened on the last 4 years. I said pandemic started the process, and today it's part of me. But the part inside of me that loves to break the rule is still there, and I like the fact that I can balance this now, but it needs to be really the exception of the exception, not only the exception of the exception, right? So every time you feel like breaking the rule, ask yourself, and don't break it, don't
Yeah.
break it, don't break it. And then ask yourself, is this the exception of the exception? And then you break the rule once in a while.
Yeah.
So it's very easy for us to start cheating, and after 1 month, you ruin 5 years of building a routine, right?
Yeah.
It's like alcoholic people, right? It's just a little bit, and you're back destroying. It's like exercising at the gym. As we get older, it's hard to build high quality strength, right? And health and perform well. When you're young, you do 6 months of training and you're exploding, right? When you're older, you start to realize that if you stop doing things for 3 years, you're down to almost zero. And it takes you 3, 4, 5 years to get back to that situation, how, body wise. So, uh, I don't want to lose that. So I'm very focused on not allowing myself to cheat too many times and not losing what I conquered, because the strength that I have today and the healthy situation that I have today, I treat it as the biggest accomplishment of my life. It's like becoming the world champion of yourself. And I value this so much that every time I'm cheating, I'm like, why am I doing that? So it needs to be the exception of the exception.
Yeah. Two things. What you said is so right. When you drink and eat late, it does take you, it robs you of the next morning. It also robs you of good, high quality sleep. When I eat a lot
Yep. Yep.
and drink late, I don't sleep well. I'm up several times. And if any of you use any devices like an Aura ring, you can see your heart rate is elevated the
Right.
whole entire time.
Right.
And I want to ask you about this. So this is so
Uh,
great. I love this stuff. I've known you for a long time. I have never really asked you to dissect your routine. I love how you do this. So exercise 7 days a week. How do you mix it up? Do you do the same thing? Do you what are your favorite things?
So
How has it
yeah,
evolved?
that's something I learned recently, last few years. Resting is overrated. Yeah, you don't need to rest. And of course, you need to balance. That's the thing. Balance what you do. What I realize is that, I'm very intense on everything I do, and that can become a problem. I love tennis, that's my sport. But then I started to do triathlon. I started to swim and run. Run was always my hobby, but I started to cycle and to swim. And I was able to see the beauty of mixing things, right? Every time I was training too hard for running, after 6 months, 1 year, I was hurting everywhere. I was performing very well and running super good, but I could see that that was not smart long term. Becoming a great runner is not very smart, in my humble opinion,
Yeah.
when you think about long term health, right? The same thing with cycling. Cycling and swimming are almost like exceptions. You can do a lot, and they're very nice on your body. But if you play soccer, for example, or if you play tennis, I love tennis. So the more I play tennis, I see that if I don't balance, I'm going to get hurt, right? So even though I don't like swimming and I don't like cycling that much, and I love tennis more than even running, one of the key lessons for me was to balance. Today I feel like playing tennis again, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to swim instead. And if you do a little bit of everything, you never get hurt. You just, oh, and on top of that, the most important of all, strength training, lifting weights. That is mandatory for every human being, 2 or 3 times a week for the rest of your life. No deal. If you don't do that, That's there's no negotiation there for me.
Oh,
There's no negotiation.
tell us
And
why.
it's amazing.
Tell us why.
It changes your life
Why?
because you know that at the end of the day, strength is much more important than cardio. As I grew up, I remember on the 80s and 90s what was all about cardio, and you have to run every day or you have to do cardio exercises every day. Today we see that all the people that understand the human body, they say, yes, you can do that and can bring some benefits, but strength training, lifting weights, it's much more important to keep your core muscles in position, to keep posture, to not get injuries, to not hurt yourself, to stay alert, when something happens and you're about to fall. And as you get older, many people die because they just fell they fell down. They fall. They don't have the balance anymore, and they don't have the strength to do the basic things. And as soon as I started to lift weights, even though I don't like it, I just do it. I just do it, and if you do twice a week, 30 minutes, it's amazing. And then you start to play tennis at a different level. You start to run at a different level and you don't get hurt. You feel
Yeah.
your body like your muscles need to sustain your joints, not the opposite. Not the
Yeah.
opposite. And this is so obvious. And for me, it's religion for me nowadays.
Yeah, totally agree. Now you should share with the listeners. You just completed a marathon not too long ago, too. Tell us about that.
I did my first marathon last year as part of my challenge of becoming 50, and I trained very well for 6 months. I was, of course, doing a lot of sports for the last 4 or 5 years, so I was already in good shape. But being in good shape doesn't mean you're gonna do a marathon. I have to tell you, the experience was unbelievable. It shows you that whatever you think is your limit is beyond. It shows you two lessons basically. When you think you know a challenge ahead of you, you know the challenge enough. No, you don't. It's going to be much harder than you can ever imagine. You think, oh, everything is under control, it's going to be fine. No, it's not going to be fine. Things can be much harder than you expected. So don't underestimate. If you never went through something, don't underestimate it. It's probably going to be much harder than you believe. And that's okay. That's fine. Just be ready. And then, so this is the negative side. The positive side is that once you hit that wall and you are like, I cannot continue, it makes no sense. Why am I doing this? Right? I got to my limit. If you don't quit, you're going to find a completely different limit of yourself. And this is going to be amazing mentally. So doing regularly marathons, I don't think it's healthy. That's why I don't plan to do many more. Many people get addicted to it.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's a horrible thing to your health, but I'm saying it's not the best, smartest, healthier way to live well forever, right? But mentally, it brings so much strength. So if you put on the balance, challenging yourself and doing a few marathons, I think it's a great positive thing because it makes you learn so much about yourself, about limits, about going beyond limits, about facing fear and becoming disciplined, following a routine, respecting the people that have done it before, right? Respect in a different level. People that never ran a marathon, they say, oh, you did a marathon. Fantastic. That's amazing. They don't actually understand until they do it themselves. And then after they do the first one, they come back to you and say, holy cow,
Yeah.
you did 5. This is impressive. Then you start looking at the guys doing half Ironmans and full Ironmans, and you're admiring these people, the mentality, the mindset of these people in a different level. So it was an amazing experience.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So now,
But
now I've got your schedule down. I got some work to do. This is so cool. We've just shared the internal schedule of Dr. Christian Coachman, and this is
I have
powerful.
I have a couple of insights here about
Please.
time management. Because you mentioned, oh, that I do a lot. I get a lot of things done from outside. It looks like I have so many projects going on. First thing I want to say is that remind yourself that I'm not a time management expert. I'm in this journey uh, to improve myself. And I did some cool things to allow me to do a lot of things during the last few years, the last decade, I would say. Um, until I was 40, was all about just working 18 hours a day. And that's not good. That's not smart. That's not healthy. But that's the way I was able to get a lot of things done that was able to set the stage for me to do everything that I did the last decade. I was just working a lot. And I admire that moment and I respect my version of myself at that moment. Say, thank you for putting that effort without knowing exactly what to do. You were just working so many hours. And that gave me the resilience, gave me the respect, the humbleness. It gave me the strength and the experience to build the things that I was able to build during the last decade. But of course, we don't want to live like that forever. So time management becomes the most important thing. If you want to have a great life, you need to manage your time smartly. Life is so damn short. It goes so fast. Oh my God. So when people tell me, Christian, you get so many things done, you must be an expert on time management. Actually, I'm not, but what I did that I think is probably something good is that I was able to surround myself with doers. I was able to surround myself with doers. I love to identify people that get stuff done, right? And when you surround yourself with doers, you have more free time because if you combine that with being okay with delegating and not being a perfectionist, I learned I was always passionate about amazing quality, but never a perfectionist. I was never stopped by perfectionism. I was always in favor of just getting stuff out. It's not perfect, just release it. It's not perfect. Next one we're gonna do better. Just go, just move. Don't get stuck with perfection. So if you don't get stuck with perfection, and because of that, you become comfortable delegating because probably when you delegate many things, people will not do the same way you will do. Maybe not with the same quality or not even the same way. So when you put control perfectionism, you learn how to delegate and you master the process of identifying the doers. It's different. You have people that are amazing but are not doers. You have people that are having great ideas but are not doers. You have people that are very good with people but not doers. So you need to first learn how to identify that skill
Yeah.
before you even know the person that much. You need to ask the right questions and you need to be attentive to it. You need to be thinking about it as you start working, you start interacting with these people. You can, after 1 week, 1 month, you can identify them very,
Yeah.
very easily. And then you bring these doers closer and you start to create this amazing army of people that are just getting things done. They are following through and following up and making your projects move as you are inspiring them, you're feeding them, you're guiding them. You can still be the quarterback of the process, you can be the leader of the process, but things are just happening. And then people from outside are like, that's Christian, you're like doing so many things. And it's just the great people around me.
Yeah. And the doers too, they also start to look out for you after a while. They come to you and say, you're double booked 3 weeks from now. And you go, oh, thank you. or get back to this person. They make you, they fill the gaps that you don't naturally fill. I love this. I love it. So my question becomes, let's go to the third bucket. Christian, and maybe incorporate, like, what have you learned about finding, growing, and keeping people at this point in your career? And then maybe we can go back and try to talk to your 25-year-old self.
Since we already talked a lot about health, I think we covered all the topics here that I was going to mention. Love routine, a good one. Smart changes and build slowly. One of the main reasons why we quit great ideas is because we get frustrated with ourselves because we were not able to complete the initial steps that we placed for ourselves to complete. So if you want a change to happen, create simple, easy initial steps. Don't be too ambitious. Be ambitious with the big goal. Be ambitious with the version of yourself in 5 years. But, don't be ambitious on the first month, on the first week. Place very friendly goals, almost stupid goals that so easy that they feel dumb, right? But what happens is that, emotionally speaking, as you complete those initial steps, your brain feels rewarded, you feel good about yourself, right? You celebrate those easy initial victories, simple victories, easy victories, fast victories at the beginning of any process. And when it comes to building a healthier routine, healthier diet, make those little small smart changes, and just choose one or two to start, and wait until they become your new way before you move to the next, right? And that's another problem. Sometimes we stop doing this bad thing, and before this becomes a routine, natural, because you before you even love the new way, because you need to love the new way, and that's when you don't even think about the old way, right? um, Before you even love that new way, you already try to incorporate two or three or four other things, and then as you're missing and craving this and this and that, and you're holding yourself here, you say, you know what, I'm gonna just have a little bit of this, right? Because I'm already skipping this and this and that, and then you lose momentum and you lose everything that you gain by stopping doing this other thing. So I think that incorporate easy victories at the beginning, wait until you own it, until you don't crave it anymore, until the new way is the way you love the most already. And as you feel like that, you can go to the next one. And that's why it takes time. People say, changes that happen too fast, they are not that stable. They're not that consistent. They're not going to last that much, right? So I think that's very, very important. I mentioned already lifting weights. That's key. And eating less. That's so obvious. We eat so much more than we need that it's insane. If you go 1,000 years ago, or maybe 5,000 years ago, or even the cavemen, they I can only imagine, they were not eating 5 times a day. They were just going hunting, finding something, and probably eating that something 3 hours after they hunted that stuff, and then just not eating for the next 2 days to find something else. And we got very spoiled. And of course, the food industry is amazing on fooling us and making us believe so much stuff. And there's so many philosophies, diet strategies, blah, blah, blah. There's one thing that is above all: just eat less. Just eat less.
Yeah.
And again, cut little by little the volume, and you're going to get used to it, and you're going to feel amazing. And you're not going to want to eat the old volume anymore once it becomes a routine. So that was a big lesson, because I love eating, and I love eating a lot. And because I was doing a lot of sports, I felt like just eat, eat, you are loud. No, it harms you in such a deep way. So that's another learning. Um, Another thing that, because it's not only physical health, is mental health. We didn't talk much, and I don't think we should go deeper in that. But I would only say one recipe that works for me for my mental health is don't take yourself too seriously. That I'm constantly saying that to myself. When I think I'm cool, I say it. Don't take yourself too seriously. When I think I'm in deep shit, I say, don't take yourself and this problem too seriously. Um, and the other thing is to give things time. Uh, Time is miracle, and it solves most of the things. Many people get angry at me. They say, Christian, you're not going to do nothing about this. Give it time. And it's amazing. 2/3 of the problems with time will disappear, and you didn't get that stressed about it, right? Of course, I'm completely against being reactive, not proactive. When there is a problem, I'm the first to jump and to say, if I can solve this, I'm going to solve it, and we're going to solve this as fast as we can. I'm talking about those problems that when you see, you say, I have no clue what to do about this. I really have no control here. And I'm just going to be stressed about it. I say, look, give time, and 2/3 of them will just fade or change or evolve or disappear.
Yeah. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now, DSD has grown quite a bit. How many team members do you have? You have well over 100, right? Team members
We
worldwide.
have, I think, around 110, 20 people, something like that.
Okay. First of all, that just seems wild. How, what are some of your secrets? Speak, and then maybe you're intertwine this. We talk to dentists all the time, and my heart goes out to them. They're like, we can't find great people, and what are your thoughts when dentists come to you with these challenges? What do you say?
It's actually very simple. Great people find great people. Work on yourself. Never complain about the fact that you are not finding great people. What can you do to become greater, and law of attraction will happen. I'm not saying that I'm great and whoever is listening is not great. I'm just saying whatever level you are in terms of greatness, in terms of a human being, leadership, communicator, caring about people, as a human, whatever level you are, you can always get better. Just get better. Get better, and you're going to solve the problem, right? Uh, uh, I don't see a great leader complaining about finding and keeping people. I see people that don't invest on leadership complaining, or people that think that they're great leaders, but they're not, in fact, that great. People that are egocentric, that think they're great leaders, complaining that they don't find great people, or very nice people that are not great with communication. That is an amazing, important skill to be a great leader, that didn't invest for any reason on the basic skills of leadership. And of course, they're going to have a hard time finding, inspiring, converting, keeping, growing great people. Everybody wants to be with the great leader, because a few people, of course, will become the leader, but everybody else is okay being around a great leader, right? So they want to find that person. They want to be inspired. They want to find a purpose. They want to fulfill their dreams through the leader. Now, one of the key aspects of a great leader to find and keep great people is to identify the dreams inside the others, and to care about those dreams and to really care, not to try to adapt their dreams into your dream, not to try to fit them into your way of whatever you want to do. Um, Great leaders are creating a platform for people to become the best version of themselves. Great leaders are allowing individuals to bring their dream into the project and achieve those dreams through the project, right? Great leaders are the ones identifying the people that will not grow through our project and will be the first one to say, like, look, you need to move on. We are not ready for you. You're not ready for us. For some reason, we're going to do everything we can to help you find a new path, but it's not moving right for you and for us. So you need to be, and for that, you need to be really caring about everybody else, not caring about your project, not caring about your business, caring about people. It sounds obvious, but it's not that obvious because we are naturally egocentric beings. And if we don't control ourselves, uh, if we're not aware, we are constantly putting ourselves above the others. And that's the natural thing. And then many people say, but that's natural. I think about myself. You think about yourself. I'm a good person. But you're not a great leader then. You're not a great leader. Leaders are the ones that are honestly, genuinely putting the group above everything else, right? And caring about each individual dream, and being honest about the fact that, is my project gonna have a way to allow you to fulfill your dream? Let's be honest about it.
Yeah. I love it. I know I can't keep you all day. One last question. We're going to take a pretend trip back to meet your 25-year-old self. And maybe we'll do a follow-up episode, but what would you say if you could go back 25 years and just have a conversation with yourself? What advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
First thing I would say, you're doing good, kid. You're doing good. It's all good. It's all good.
And is that because you overthink it? Because I have a 23-year-old daughter, same thing. You're just overwhelmed. You're thinking about so much and you're right where you need to be, don't you think?
That's maturity brings that to you, right?
Yeah.
Today, I can be in the middle of the biggest mess ever, and I'm just like, everything happens for a reason. If I'm here, it's because I need to be here. How can I find the opportunities here? How can I make the best out of this mess, right? How can I get out of this in the most healthy way? How can I be the best human for everybody around me in the middle of this mess? How can I genuinely care about what is going on in the middle of this problem? So that kind of confidence, humble confidence, that only comes with maturity. That's probably what I would say to myself. Be humble, but be confident. Be confident, but be humble. Just always check your intentions. Check your intentions, because you're gonna do so many things for the wrong intention, some things for bad intentions, and that's okay. It's gonna be okay. But if you can make more decisions with the right intention, you're gonna suffer a little bit less. But at the same time, if you don't suffer, you don't grow. I think there's a total direct relationship between suffering and growing. That if I was able to speak to myself when I was 20, if I could go back in time and be with me here, 25 years old, I would be very careful with what I would say, because if what any instruction or advice would allow my younger version to skip some suffering, that would not necessarily be the best to grow and to mature, right? So, I don't think anything should change
Yeah.
at all, At the end of the day, of course we play with this situation. If I could tell myself when I was younger, actually, you're trying to speed up the learning curve, right? You're trying to skip some problems and mistakes. I would say speeding up the growth is fine. Everything that would skip suffering, I wouldn't tell my younger self. Everything that could speed up the process of suffering and getting through it and growing, these advices I would probably give to myself.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. This has been fantastic. Give us some final thoughts on this, Christian, before we wrap up.
One one final thought that actually about people. One thing that I learned and I started to enjoy the process of bringing my enemies closer to me, challenging myself. Enemies, quote enemies,
Right.
because I don't think I have enemies or people that don't like me, people that are not agreeing with me, or people that for any reason are trying to bring me down in certain moments in my life. For some reason, at one point, and that happened when I started to lecture almost 20 years ago, I decided that every time I had somebody in the audience and you can detect that as you start lecturing, you see that those one, two, or three that are there to try to prove you wrong, bring you down, corner you, make you feel bad for any reason. Once in a while, you have those people, right? And it's very easy to get pissed. It's very easy to attack them. It's very easy to get lost into this process and get negative about it, start criticizing them to others. I decided that I was going to set a challenge to myself and I was going to do everything. I was going to bring the best of me as a human, as a communicator, to try to bring that person to my side, to try to make that person realize that we were not there to compete, to fight. I was not there to harm, and I was probably wrong. And the other person maybe had a better version or a better story or a better technique or a better whatever that I wanted to learn, that I wanted to improve, that I admired the fact that they were thinking differently. And I started to identify the tension, identify these people, and instead of getting angry and pissed, I would just embrace that person. I would just embrace our difference. I would accept the difference. I would respect the difference. I would make myself understand that their anger or their behavior was not necessarily with the worst intention, and that somehow I wanted to prove that they should give a chance to our relationship. You should give ourselves a chance, I would say to them, and say, look, give me a chance so we can be friends, so we can discuss, so we can help each other, right? And the more you do that, the better you get in it. And it's very rewarding because you know what happened? Many, many times, these people, some of them become your best allies afterwards. Some of them become very loyal to you, even if they don't agree with you,
Right.
even if they still have different opinions. They start to respect you in a different level and they start to defend you as a person, not necessarily your theory or your topic or your technique, but they start to defend you as a person. I don't agree with Christian, but I do respect who he is, and this is because you are able to put the right energy to open a channel and a window of communication with these people. So uh, that just came to my mind, and I think that this is something that speeds up growth, makes you feel great about yourself, makes you connect and explore people that you wouldn't. Every person that you don't create a relationship, you are missing opportunities. In this life, you're missing opportunities. So even that person that you think is a jerk or an asshole or it's useless, whatever, I can guarantee there is a chance that if you're able to flip the story, you are able to take the best out of them.
So well said. Totally agree. Any other final thoughts before we wrap up, my friend?
I think that's it, man. Prioritize time management, mental and physical health, and the people around you.
Yeah.
You know, that it's everything. That's the tripod of success.
The tripod of success. We may label this. This has been one of my favorite because these are three of my favorite subjects. And I now know what you do every day. This is so cool. So I really appreciate this. I'm going to go back and rework my schedule now because I've been inspired. So good stuff. Cool, cool, cool. These are truly three of the biggest challenges most everybody that listens in this community to the podcast. And I hope you listened really well because those were some great insights from a great man who has a great life and is a huge influencer to this incredible industry. So keep watching, keep listening. We're going to keep bringing it. We have an amazing lineup in front of us, and we'll keep bringing them every single day.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.